That's right, another TikTok prankster is going to jail. This is not another one of those disappointing cases where these weenies get arrested, but it's just like this foreplay that ends with a slap on the wrist and no real repercussions. They have been sentenced. He will be seeing the inside of a jail cell, going to the Slammer, the Thunderdome, baby. We are entering the golden age of pranks where all these turbo dork-ass losers are finally getting consequences for these pranks, which pranking has basically just become synonymous with terrorism. They're not pranks. They just actively harm as many people around them as possible, just being a detriment to the entire world. This miasma of fucking cringe. A plague sweeping through due to a terminal clout obsession. This is an update to someone I covered like 6 or 7 months ago. His name's Wolfie. His whole online presence was dedicated to harassing strangers, throwing things at strangers at a mall, including like a dead bird and shit. But the one that got him arrested and will now be landing him in jail is where he attempted to poison people for a prank.
Social media influencer accused of spraying bug killer on food at a Valley Walmart, then posting the video of him committing the crime online, was just sentenced to 1 year in prison. 28-year-old Charles Smith said in court that it was all supposed to be a prank, but the judge didn't see it that way.
There is no sane human being on the planet that would see biological warfare like this as a prank, just some kind of goof. All just a practical joke, Your Honor. You just don't understand. It's lunacy. He poisoned so much food that actually could have just killed people. And then he tried to like make it right after a lot of people contacted authorities. So he did go back and try and get the food off the shelves and like get it away from people. But it took a little bit. The food could have easily been purchased by someone in that time, and he still contaminated other surrounding items, including the bins that they were in. So if any other food would ever go in there, or if like a kid would go by and touch it, they would then be subjected to a potential contamination from the poison that he was spraying on all of it. It is unhinged. And as was mentioned in the broadcast there, he has been sentenced to 1 year in prison. I think it's a little lenient, considering this is just a career criminal that just happens to film all of their crimes for money online, generating some online updoots from absolute fucking cretins that find this content entertaining. I think he got off really easy, all things considered here. But I still think this is cause for celebration, so get the nipple clamps and tap dancing shoes on, because we've got a little something to be joyful about, that he will be going to jail.
I'd just like to formally apologize for my actions from last year and that I've become a better person.
Charles Smith, also known as Wolfie Party on social media, saying in court he is sorry for this video. Taken in December at this Mesa Walmart, where police say he stole a can of bug killer and recorded himself spraying it all over fruits, vegetables, and rotisserie chickens.
Buddy is singing here. Anything to reduce the time he'll spend behind bars, so he's trying to issue an apology here. He drops the classic line, the most meaningless platitude you've heard a million times before, about how he's become a better person now than who he was a year ago when he was poisoning all that food, and all the times that he was harassing strangers and potentially hurting strangers for his pranks and all the crimes he committed. He's grown a lot. He actually bought a V-Bucks gift card and gave it to an orphanage, I heard. So he has gone through quite the character arc, from poisoning people, trying to pile up corpses for his prank online, to being the saint we see before us now.
This crime was absolutely outrageous and exceedingly dangerous.
Which is why he was arrested, charged, and ultimately pleaded guilty to poisoning. But that wasn't the only charge Smith was facing in court. Smith is known for these kinds of videos on social media. Others include what appears to be him locking people inside a Goodwill, throwing food at people at the mall, and even throwing a dead bird at fast food workers. He was facing charges related to theft at a Mesa Bosa Donuts and for causing more than $10,000 of damage at a Valley laundromat.
You can't judge a man by his entire life and obsession with internet attention so he can make money off of crimes that he commits. You instead have to judge him by his one-sentence apology and claim that he's changed. That is clearly a changed man. He said so.
We believe we found that video on his Instagram. that appears to show him put raw meat and eggs into an unsuspecting customer's laundry machine with their clothes.
These videos are pranks.
These so-called pranks, posted online, also made Smith up to $10,000 a month, according to arrest documents.
And that right there is the tough pill to swallow, the sad reality of it. The reason a lot of pathetic worms like this guy exist and do this shit is because it is incredibly lucrative. They're able to fill their piggy banks because there are tons of brainless drones that watch that content for some reason. All because it's just bad. Like, whoa, you can't put bacon in a laundry machine, a washing machine with eggs. Who's ever heard of that? This guy's unhinged. What a menace. This guy's a menace. Holy shit, I can't wait to see the next one. What's he gonna do next? And they are able to really soak up a ton of clams from that shit. So, that's why so many of these pranksters exist. $10,000 a month is a huge chunk of change. That puts him up there with like a doctor's salary from putting eggs and bacon in washing machines and then going to fast food workers and like ruining their shift, throwing things at people at the mall, poisoning people. Like, that is why there are so many of these destructive losers, because they're able to make a lot of money off it. It's crazy how normalized it's become. I have no doubt that Wolfie there really is so deluded that he thought those could be perceived as pranks. Like, that would be a legitimate defense. This is actually protected under fair use. It's a parody. These are parody pranks. They're pranks. They're pranks. You can't be. Why are you getting mad about pranks? It's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, I'm poisoning people, but it's a joke. Like, yeah, I'm like throwing things at people and like actively putting people in harm's way and harassing them, but I'm doing it because it's a joke. Why are you getting so mad? It's a prank.
You're going to go out into the community and you're going to harm others, film them, put it online, and then profit off of it. That warrants punishment.
Smith's attorney told the judge that his client has taken responsibility for his actions and understands these aren't pranks.
What he did was not funny, and that's not how he should behave. He wants to turn a new leaf. He wants to get off this social media thing.
Objection! I know I'm not there in court arguing here, but your client just said that they are pranks. He himself just said they are pranks. And now the statement is coming out that he knows they're not pranks. Who's lying here? Someone's getting caught in a web of fibs. Those two statements can't both exist at the same time. There is something fishy afoot here. To be fair, though, that statement does come from the reporter, not the one representing him, so maybe he didn't say that he knows they're not pranks, because that would be very contradictory if that is what he said, because his client just said the exact opposite. But then he goes on to say how he understands that they're not, like, humorous or anything, and he wants to turn a new leaf. Okay, great. Go to jail, spend some time in jail, come out of jail, and not be that same fucking loser that went in there in the first place. That sounds great. I think it should be longer than a year because, again, he has made an entire career out of committing crimes for money and filmed all of it. A year sounds like they were really light on him, especially considering how dangerous some of them were, especially the poisoning one.
Then Smith talked about why he makes these kinds of videos.
Social media has definitely took over my brain and made me do things that is abnormal.
That was dangerously close to an honest statement right there. Social media definitely did take over his brain. It does that for a lot of people. It puts a fucking, parasite in there that's pulling all the levers in your neurons, and it makes it very enticing to do what Wolfie did, because it's very easy to make money doing it. However, it didn't force him to. He made the decision to do this and keep doing it, committing these crimes over and over and over again, treating people as subhuman props for his videos that he could exploit and harass and put in danger. Social media didn't make him do that. He made that choice. But yes, he is right. It did make it very appealing because of the money he stood to make doing it. Because there are tons of people before him that have done this very similar stuff and made tons of money without going to jail. But it seems like we're finally entering an era where there is going to be a crackdown on this kind of behavior, and that is such a good thing. That is a great direction. I hope we can keep going in that direction.
The judge sentenced Smith to 1 year in prison, followed by 3 years supervised probation. She also said for those stores that were damaged, they can ask for restitution.
Do not return to any Walmart. Don't return to any Bosa Donuts.
Anyway, though, I just wanted to give you this little update here to this prankster. That's really about it. So, yeah.